Okay, so I'm just going to show you how we're going to modify our project in order to pull live data into our application rather than using it before. So I've got two projects here. This is the original project. Sorry, the top one is your original project of how it currently should look. And this bottom one here is what we're going to change it to. So I thought this might be a good way that I can show you how we've modified it. So the first thing we did was to modify our data structure. So previously we created this class and we had to initiate it and we set the minimum and maximum. And then we applied each of those. So we manually had to create the data for Perth, Melbourne and Hobart, and we put that in a list, and then that's the list that we use to display in our table. So inside weather.swift, so that's where I am for both of these. First thing I did was to completely delete this section here, and I've still got my row selected, and then I've got this new struct. So hopefully you've read that material on what a struct is, and we've made this decodable, which allows us to pull in data and make it available. And then I create these attributes, and these attributes or properties match what is inside my JSON file, which I'm going to link to. And then again, I have a cities, which is similar to what I had before as my data. So I've called it cities just so it's something different, and that way you can see where it's updated. And then with the cities, again, we apply our weather and we make a list. Okay, so next we're going to look at our table view. So inside our table view, okay, so again, in here you should have that search functionality all working, so it updates all your content, etc. So this should all be set up. So what have I changed here? So first of all, we've got this new method called get data. Okay, so this is going to my GitHub repository where I have my .json file. Okay, it creates a new URL session, so we define the URL. We then handle it. We're using a guard to make sure that it doesn't return nothing. And then from there, we can decode it and we can make it into a list of data with the weather type. And then that way we can use it within our table. So then we need to update our cities count. So we're not using data anymore, we're using our cities, which again was from our weather. Okay, everything else is the same, except for wherever we had data, we updated it to cities. Okay, all of our transition is the same. Okay, so fairly simple, as once we have where we're getting our data from, then we can simply apply that to that list. Okay, then looking at our map view, again, I'll open up this map view. Okay, so this is what you should already have. And then updating it, all we're doing is updating our rows to make sure that we get it from the cities. Okay, so it's fairly simple to transition. And what this means is we can pull this from any data source. At the moment, I'm using a JSON file that I've set up, but we could pull this from live weather services with a little bit of modification. So one more time, I'm going to show you that get method. Okay, so that get method, this is doing all the heavy lifting for us. Okay, I've called that function here in view did load to make sure that it pulls out. And again, I've applied my cities. So hopefully once this runs, you'll be able to pull in your live data. It should look something like this. Obviously we don't have pictures anymore. We've got our search function now, so we can search through, and my data is a little bit lame. It only has the same temperature for each of them, but it does have the locations. As we click through, we should be able to find where these different cities are. Okay. Apparently Salt Lake City is in Los Angeles, so obviously my data is not perfect, but we can find each of these locations. Remember, this is just a summary video. I have made available all of the code so that you can ensure that you have. I just wanted to make sure that you're aware where each of the functions were in this video.